You're listening to the Naptime Empires podcast with my mom, Nikki Elledge Brown. Mom, your show's on.
Thanks, bud. I got it from here. Welcome to the Naptime Empires podcast, refreshingly honest conversations on the realities of parenthood and entrepreneurship. I'm your host, Nikki Elledge Brown. Let's get started. When I climbed in bed the other night, I was trying to drift off to sleep in a very high vibe state. So I was visualizing and just aligning with the idea of having a super powerful, profitable, enjoyable, pleasurable year for 2017. And I had kind of written that off. Like, I chose my word of the year as space. And I guess to some degree, I was just using space as my excuse to just not really give it a good go. And just be like, no, we're moving. Let's take it easy. And I do want to take it easy in the sense that every project that I'm committing myself to or dreaming up, I'm like, wait a second. But how can I make this feel simple, enjoyable, and filled with ease? Not that it's not going to take work and effort, but you know what I mean? Ease. Easy. And so all these opportunities have been flying my way just over the last week or two, and they're really exciting opportunities and feel very much aligned with the vision that I'm setting for me moving forward. So if this is your first episode to listen to, you got some catching up to do. But basically, my husband's in the Navy, and we've been living in Hawaii for quite a while now, almost a decade, which is wild. And we're moving, big transition coming up this summer of 2017 because we'll be moving back to Texas. And I just started dreaming and thinking about like what reality will be like when Jeremy's actually home most of the time. Because for the last 4 years, plus or minus, I mean, he's been gone most of the time, whether it was training in Connecticut or whether it was a deployment or all the little workups that they do in between deployments, he's been gone a lot. And I just started to feel like, OMG, it's going to be so different. It's going to be so amazing when I have him here all the time. And imagine what I can do when he's always here. He's a great dad and super present and super helpful. Honestly, I'm kind of like, when he gets home, I just check out sometimes. So we're going to have to learn what it's like to co-parent and both like share the roles and figure it out. Because sometimes when he gets home, I'm just like, you're it. And the other day I found myself sitting on the couch, just totally checked out for a while. And I was like, thank you for letting me hide. And again, my little guys are really like pretty chill, you know, but sometimes you just need to be off the clock as the sole grown up. And it's nice to know you've got extra hands. Anyway, I'm laying in bed and I'm having all these thoughts. And then I started catching myself thinking like fantasizing about when Jeremy's actually home and we have real like physical partnership, not just like emotional, energetic. Yes, we're married, but you're under the sea, but like he's actually here and we're sharing the load. And I just started getting really excited about that. And I'm like, imagine all the possibilities for my business that are going to open up when I have that much time to create. Or if a really cool opportunity comes up for me to go speak somewhere, then I can go because he's holding down the home front, just like I've been doing for him for all these years. And then I started catching myself and thinking, Nikki, what the F is that about? You know, you're putting it off and you're basically making excuses for why you can't do what you want now, but it's really just a matter of choice. And this is something we talk about in a lot of the conversation episodes, and I have a really, really great conversation coming up that I had with Melanie Duncan on this. You're gonna love it. It's gonna be episode 16 about choices and deciding. And I was imagining like, okay, great. So I'm planning to be, you know, big ballin' out of control once we shift and we're in Texas and Jeremy's home and blah, blah, blah. But then I started thinking about you and how you might then look at me and be like, well, yeah, of course, Nikki's business is blowing up because her husband's home full time, right? So we start comparing and we make all these excuses of why someone else's situation, you know, can't be our reality and that can't happen for us because. And the truth is, I'm realizing that it can, and it's just a choice. Like, for example, we've gone 3 weeks without extra childcare over here. So normally our friend / babysitter comes over in the morning after I get home from dropping off Bryson at school, and then she'll hang out and play with Deacon for like that first waking session before his first nap. So normally I have help Monday through Thursday mornings for that hour and a half or so that he's awake before his first nap. And then we're usually solo after that. But we haven't had that for the last 3 weeks. And so it's been interesting because I've manifested true Naptime Empire's life, where I'm like, oh, shoot, because the things I was going to do while she's here in the morning have now been squished or pushed because I had calls scheduled or interviews scheduled or whatever for the nap time, and those I couldn't move anyway. So I've been living it, and then I'm realizing, why is it taking me this long to just ask someone else who can help? We have another great sitter that we worked with from whenever Deacon was itty-bitty a year ago, and she has a couple of part-time jobs, so she's not as available. But still, she's there, and she could come help out like in an afternoon or an evening. So I finally texted her today, 3 weeks too late, hello, and asked. And so this aha moment I was having in my bed that made me pull out my phone and get my notes app so that I was like, just in case I forget this, I wanted to write this down, is that we just want to make excuses. And I'm not trying to say we need to be hard on ourselves, so please don't get that twisted. I'm not saying we need to be hard on ourselves. I just want to call us out on our bull honky and the excuses that we make of why we can't XYZ. Maybe you are a single mom, in which case you're my hero. Maybe you're a single mom full time, or maybe your partner works a lot too, or maybe he's in the military too. Whatever it is, we need to know and own this is our reality right now. And if we're choosing to build our businesses or to create or do whatever it is that you're doing, that's a choice, and we can be supported if we just allow it. It's all about choices, and ultimately, it's all about surrender. And that saying, it takes a village? It used to take a village. I doubt that mom guilt was a thing back in the day when people didn't have issues asking for, receiving, and offering help and support. But now, the way that society works, unfortunately, and again, this is just a story and a choice because you can create your own community around you, but it's just very isolating. Or we're connected, but we're connected online. So I'm like having friends who their kiddos aren't napping, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I wish I could just come over right now and we could have a play date while you go do your thing, like a little co-op. We have this plan in the works, like a commune. Maybe one day we'll make that happen, and Naptime Empires. Of course, they'll all be grown up by then. Anyway, it takes a village, so let yourself have one. It used to take a village. It still can. We just have to, and again, I'm saying this to you because I'm saying this to me. Let yourself be supported now before you need it, because the worst thing is to then, basically what I'm saying, Nikki, have a backup babysitter. Because if something happens, that's too much pressure for the one person. And then if something falls through that I really couldn't reschedule, which that's the blessing and flexibility, is that I can always reschedule stuff. Nothing is like life or death in my business or in my work. So I'm very thankful for that. But have a backup plan. So get support around what you want and what you need, whether that's childcare, whether that's cleaning the house, whether that's running errands, doing the grocery shopping. This is something I'd love to talk about in the Facebook group. So if you haven't joined the Facebook group, go to naptimeempires.com/Facebook and I'll send you the link in your email. But this is something I'd love to talk about and that we have talked about before, because I'm like, there's no award for doing it by yourself. There's no award for she who refuses to get support. Let's be honest. And even in business, when people are like self-made millionaire, I mean, really? Is that even really a thing? Is anybody really self-made? Like, we all have influences and mentors and friends and family and support. I just don't know anyone who legit self-made. Like, it's not an award. And to me, it's not a goal. We're social creatures and we're meant to connect with each other. And sidebar, that's one thing I noticed when I went to Jay Facette's Mastermind to Millions event in Phoenix in December. I was like, oh yeah, I like being around people face to face. I definitely want this to be more of a part of my business. That was one of my biggest ahas from being there. Also, there's ahas about the mastermind, which I'll tell you about in Facebook. But people, we're meant to be, we're built. That's why social media is so enjoyable, because it's like reminding us that there are people out there in the world that we would love to connect with. And chances are there are some in your neighborhood, even if you don't feel like it. So basically what I want to say is we need to get creative and let ourselves be supported. We need to own it. We need to own our choices and to create the support network that we want and need now, instead of waiting for one day. Like for me to be like, oh, well, 3 months from now when Jeremy's out. Like, no. What can I do now to feel that support? Like, what's actually within my control, within my reach? What can I do now? And that's what I'm encouraging you to ask. Remember our drinking game we talked about? Every time I say I encourage you, just have a sip of water with lemon. I encourage you to think about where you could use some support. Just hypothetically think, like, what could be different? What could be more enjoyable, more pleasurable if you had support? And again, I'm talking about life stuff, but I'm also talking about business stuff. And I mean, again, seriously, I'm talking to myself here. I remember talking to someone about like what I would love in an assistant and in a team. And I was like, I want to feel supported like a Wonder Bra. You know, at the time, Deacon's brand new, so I was like walking around basically existing in nursing tanks and no bra. And so I'm like, I want to feel supported like a Wonder Bra. Like there's no woman left behind. Like I feel really supported. I can just let go and I am still supported. You know what I mean? So don't let your thoughts about underwire cloud your judgment here with this analogy. But you know what I'm saying? Let yourself be supported. There are people out there who would love to support you if given the opportunity, both in life and in business. There are people who would love to tackle that messy junk closet of yours. There are people who would love to snuggle with your sweet baby while you get some work done, take a nap, go grocery shopping, get your hair done, whatever you want to do. There are people who would love to support you, but they're not going to read your mind. Just like if your toddler is getting frustrated about trying to reach something or trying to open something and you're like, dude, just ask for help. If you want help, then you've got to ask for me. Use your words. So that's what I'm telling you and I'm telling me. Use your words. Ask for help if you want and if you need it. And the other piece is do it before you need it. Again, you know what I'm saying? Like do it before you need it. Have backup, have support, have a plan before you need it. Because when you need it most, when you need support most is probably the least likely time that you're going to have the energy to find it. And yeah, it'll happen. But if you're anything like me, then you wait until you absolutely need help. And then you're like, help me. And it's way too high expectations for the person that you're trying to get to help you. And this is why I'm really excited for you to hear the conversation with Melanie, which if it's out by the time you're listening to this, it won't be if you're listening to this live as I publish it tomorrow. But whenever it is out, episode 16, spoiler alert, she talks about hiring people and everybody's like, hire someone who will do as good of a job as you or better. And she's like, sometimes you just need to hire someone competent, you know, and you can keep hiring and you can keep iterating and looking for other people as you go. But sometimes you just need to get somebody in there. And it's so true. Like, seriously, because if you're waiting, it's the ultimate imperfectionism in trying to get support. Meanwhile, you're trying to do all the things, spin all the plates, wear all the hats, and you're miserable. And that's the thing that I talked about in the Facebook group, because I'm like, there's no award for doing it all yourself, because you're just going to be like a burned out, and I used this phrase last time as well, I think, grouchy a-hole, you know, but you're going to be grouchy, you're going to be all just spent, and probably a bit resentful of everyone in your life. So that's not what we want to do. That's not what we want to be. That's not how we want to feel, which is why you could also go back and listen to episode 9, where I talk about filling your cup. Because again, I'm saying this to me just as I'm saying it to you. And I feel like each of these episodes, especially the solo shows, it's like I'm going to be saying the same thing over and over, just in different ways. But you know what? I think we need to hear it. I mean, I know I need to hear it. That's that. I want to encourage you, don't be a hero. Let yourself, I'm not even telling you to go out right now and hire someone. I'm asking you today to just really think about, like, fantasize and daydream right now. Think about the thing that you really, like, you'd be cool if you never had to do that again in your life. Whether it's vacuuming your staircase, whether it's running a particular errand, whether it's trying to figure out how to DIY development, whatever, on your website. Think about the one thing that if you could just find somebody who would do a good enough job for a reasonable price, you'd be like, sweet. And even if, there's Denise resources for this, and I don't know what your thoughts are on bartering and such, but like, don't let money be an excuse either. If you're like, I can't afford, because really just do the math and figure it out. If you, for example, with childcare, you might be like, $15 or even $20 an hour. I don't know what a babysitter would be in your area, what you'd feel good about. But think about if you had even 5 hours a week even 2 hours a week where you had dedicated time. And again, yes, legit, you could do the calculator thing and think about, oh, well, if I did a client call and the client call earned me $200, well, then duh, of course it's worth it. But there are also things that don't have tangible financial outcomes tied to them, but they would still be great because they would charge your batteries. They would recharge you, and then you'd be better, happier, more like you could enjoy everything else more if you spent that 2 hours a week doing something for you that you can't possibly do if you're caring for a little one. You know what I mean? That's what I want to say. Let yourself be supported. Hashtag like a wonder bra. Again, whether you like bras or not, I'm just giving you a visual. Like, let someone else help you carry the load. If it takes a village, let's make our village. Bring the dang village back. And the main thing is I just want to challenge us for the stories that we're telling ourselves of why we can't do this, or that's not realistic for us. I just want to call us on the BS and just ask, is that really true? Can I really, truly not find someone who's super reliable? Is there really not another mom in my neighborhood who would love to do a childcare swap for 2 afternoons a week? Really? Really? And if that is truly the case, then it's definitely not true if you're thinking that there's somebody who's not capable of taking on a piece of your work and being a virtual assistant. That's definitely not true. So, yeah, that's my point. And I'll link in the show notes, which will be naptimeempires.com/011 for episode 11. I will link some of my previous blog posts on delegating and ideas on this stuff. And honestly, at this point, I'm very much scaled back. Like last year for me, in terms of support, I guess the other side of this coin is to caution you and not feel like you can just pay people to like bring your mojo back, because it does have to start with you and your energy has to start with you. So that's why episode 9 comes before this one. Because last year I was like so desperate to try to get that love and feeling back in my business that I was hiring all these brilliant, amazing, lovely people to do various things, but then I wasn't showing up. I was like hiding from my own business. So it made no sense to be paying so much for other people to help when I wasn't really doing anything that they could help me with. So please don't get me wrong. I'm not saying go hire a whole bunch of people all of a sudden. I'm saying start small in a way that feels good and lean, but smart. Like lean, but expansive, to where that investment of $20 or $50 or $100 a week of whatever somebody could be doing for you, it makes you feel excited and it gives you your energy back, because that's the priceless resource. And as my friend Susan says, it's not about the time. It's not even about the time that you have, because it's about your energy. Because even if you have time, if you don't have the energy to actually enjoy it or do something valuable with that time, then what good is it? So yeah, I just encourage you to start thinking about and dreaming up ways and then start making it real. And again, we can have this discussion in the Facebook group about what other people are doing and how they first started getting help, whether it was with childcare, a Mother's Day Out kind of program, or someone who comes to the house, or help with cleaning or cooking, even automating stuff, software that can do stuff for you. Whatever it is, we can have this discussion, because really, truly, there is no award for doing it on your own. You don't have to do it alone. So we're bringing the village back. We're going to take baby steps so you can start feeling supported, receiving that support, asking for that support, and then you'll have overflow. You'll get your groove back, and then you'll be able to offer more support. It's a beautiful, virtuous cycle. That's what I got for you, friend. I hope you have a beautiful day wherever you are. Thank you so much for taking time to listen. If you haven't yet, just click on over to the reviews tab and leave me a review if you're enjoying the show. I would love to hear about it. I read everyone. Because there's only like 20 something at this point. But I will always read everyone, because they're music to my eyeballs. All right. Thanks for hanging out with me. Talk to you next time.
This show may be over, but the conversation is just beginning. Head on over to naptimeempires.com/Facebook so you can join my free... Wait, did I say free? I meant priceless, rapidly growing community of Naptime Empire builders for deeper discussions, behind-the-scenes scoop, and of course, updates whenever I've got new stuff coming up for you. naptimeempires.com/Facebook. See you there.
See you next next time. Thanks for listening.